Hey, everybody, welcome into the WTH podcast. It's me, Nate. A couple minutes early. Jason said he's going to be about 5 minutes late. Not sure what time Kareem will be rolling in, but that's totally cool because we'll do a show. I'll wait till the guys get on to explain why we're doing it on Tuesday instead of on Monday. They kind of know, but I'll give them all the details because they deserve the details. Hope everybody's having a good week. It's been an interesting one so far. It's my birthday week, so it's be an interesting time. My birthday is coming up on Friday. I already have one birthday present. My father-in-law got me these. If you're wondering what they are, they're AirPods Pro. AirPod Pros? AirPods Pro? Air Pro? Anyway. You know what they are. They're the wireless headphones, and they work freaking phenomenally with my iPhone. I absolutely adore them, and they're half the size. The case is like half the size of the Echo Pods that I've had for the past year or so from Amazon, which, I mean, they're okay. They're okay. The Echo Pods are half the price. So regular price, the AirPods Pro are $250. The Echo Pods, I think, are $130. I got the Echo Pods, I think, for $90 on one of their sales. And like I said, I got the hello, Kareem.
Hello.
Got the AirPods Pro as a birthday gift. So did not pay anything for them, which is the better way to go in my mind anyway. Let's get rid of that until Jason comes in. We'll go with that background. Kareem, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing okay. It's Tuesday that feels like a Monday.
Yeah. It's been a couple days for me. Jason's gonna be 5 minutes late, but you knew that already. You're
Yeah, of
right on
course.
time. You're right on
Yep.
time. So, but he did let me know, so I guess there's that. I'm gonna be 5 minutes late. So it's it's been weird. How you been? What's going on with you that you want to bring to the show?
uh, just dealing with crazy people, man. Where is common sense anymore?
Oh, it went away.
Just regular old common sense.
Well, the problem is there's a lot of people who talk about common sense on Facebook, and they're all idiots because they're the ones who want to have a common sense approach to blah 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 blah. And really what they're talking about is they want to just say, I know more than this scientist, or I know more than this expert in his field because I have my common sense. To which I
Yeah, that doesn't
say,
work that way.
no, you don't. Bad.
Google is not the answer to everything.
No, well, it can be. If you know how
Yeah.
to use it, that's the problem. People don't really know how to use it. How many people do you know that use Google and they click on the ad that is the first result delivered? It's always the first thing delivered is always a sponsored link. Always.
Yeah.
Always. So if you're not scrolling before you click, you're getting what Google is getting paid to give you.
So I'm dealing with people who Google and then think they know more about how to do my job than I do.
Oh, those are the best. Those are
Yes.
really the best.
Oh, man.
It's always good when they're in your office too.
Yeah.
My favorite when working in TV, and I'll let you get back to your story in a second. When working in TV, because I was in the creative services department, which does the promotions and the advertising for the station and the marketing, everybody likes to say, well, I'm creative and it's creative services. And it's like, it's a little more than that. And you're not as creative as you think you are.
Yeah. It was
Just
like when
because.
I
Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead. You're on.
Well, when I was a kid, when I guess it's the GATE program out here, but uh we put us in this program called the Gifted and Talented, which was supposed to be for the smartest kids in the class. But it's gifted and talented. It's not academically gifted. it's like you had some other talent that you didn't necessarily have.
Okay.
But so that's kind of the same premise of you think you are because you were smart in this area, but you're not really smart in everything.
Ben Carson, perfect example of that. Brain surgeon, brilliant brain surgeon, not brilliant at other things.
Yes.
So
I am not good at biology. I was not good at geometry.
it's good to know your limitations.
Look, horrible at both of those things.
It is good to know your limitations. Before we get Jason on, I want to talk a little bit about the weather in Texas.
Dude, my goddaughter is there for school.
Oh no!
When she got up this morning, it was -2 degrees.
Wow, where in Texas is she?
She's in northern Texas, so she's
okay.
in
Yeah.
like north of Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah. It was -2 degrees when she got up this morning. And when I texted her at 8:30, it was 11 degrees.
Yeah, I have someone I went to high school with. She lives in the Houston area, and she put on Facebook yesterday that it was 19 degrees outside and 57 in her house, and they had been without power for, at that point, I believe 20 hours.
Yeah.
It sucks. It really sucks if you're somebody who's stuck without power. I mean, we were just without power for like 20 hours, and that stunk. And it sucks if you're stuck in that situation. The problem is there's a bunch of Republicans in Texas who, back when California was on fire last summer, 6 months ago, just 6 months ago, late summer, early fall, who were tweeting absolute and utter horseshit at California. They were just saying the most ignorant bullshit about California. They mocked the power outages that we were having. Hold on. Why are you even playing? Get out of here. So they were mocking that. And now 6 months later, they don't have power. Here's some of them. Ted Cruz tweeted, California is now unable to perform even basic functions of civilization like having reliable electricity. Biden-Harris AOC want to make California's failed energy policy the standard. That was Ted Cruz. Karma came for him 6 months later.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, now I can switch the background so we can get our... There we
So
go.
somebody said that they built their own power grid so they wouldn't have to deal with federal regulation.
It's true. That's part of what it is. To continue, Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor of Texas and giant asshole, tweeted, "This is what happens when the Democrats are left in charge. Why California's liberal climate policies are causing electricity blackouts." And Attorney General Ken Paxton, who will soon be going to jail, tweeted, "California's politicians did this, not the heat." It was responding to a tweet from CBS News saying, "Scorching heat hits Southern California, leaving some areas without electricity." Brandon Friedman tweeted that those are the three tweets, and this is my Dallas bathtub this morning, a literal block of ice.
Wow.
Right?
And she was at work when I texted her, and I say, I asked if they had power. She said she didn't have power at home, but she was at work, so she didn't have to worry about it. She works at Lowe's, so I'm assuming they were on the generator.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
One of our friends lives in Fort Worth, and they've been without power for 40 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. This morning they're at a friend's house, and they have a newborn, like a 1 month old. So nuts.
Now, Ted Cruz today tweeted, "I got no defense. A blizzard strikes Texas and our state shuts down. Not good. Stay safe." That's not an apology.
No.
What we need from you is I'm sorry I was an asshole, Ted.
What we need, Ted, is, you know what? maybe there's something to this climate change.
Right.
That's what we need. I don't give a fuck about apologies. I need somebody from over on that side to be like, wait, we've never seen weather like it's been how long since weather like this has happened? And it's just fucking ridiculous.
And Chris Hayes from MSNBC, who tweeted this morning that it's not appropriate for us to be dunking on Texas, even though they were doing that. That they were doing that 6 months ago. I have a thought for you, Chris Hayes. Fuck you.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, Chris Hayes of MSNBC. Because most of the quote unquote dunking on people was on people like Ted Cruz, who were assholes 6 months ago. And it was pointing out, hey, 6 months ago, you were being a prick because we didn't have power. Now you don't have power.
Yeah, I think Whoopi Goldberg put it best today on The View when Meghan McCain was whining about how the Republicans are being she doesn't like the fact that the Republicans are being painted with the brush of being Nazis. And like, you brought the shit on yourself.
I heard that today, actually.
Everything, every negative thought that people have about you as a party or you supporting this shit is because you support the shit.
Yeah. They don't come out and say fuck Nazis and fuck white supremacists. Like, no. That's all he would need to do. That's all he would need.
Like, you support it. You don't denounce it. You accept their, so it's you.
Yeah, I think I know why they can't accept it. It's because it comes back to that book, How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram. I can't remember his last name. But like, that's what he says in there. It's one of the, you have to be an anti-racist. You cannot be laissez-faire about it. You have to denounce it when you see it. Like, stop.
Meanwhile, so we're talking about the Texas power failure. Now, the actual reason why there's a power failure in Texas, amongst other things, besides the fact that it's colder than normal, is they built, as Kareem mentioned a little earlier, they have their own sort of power grid in most of Texas, and they were given the option. See, Texas is known. This is why a lot of companies want to move to Texas, is because Texas doesn't like regulation. They feel regulation stifles business. And so they built the power plants and those power delivery systems with the option to not winterize them. So they did not winterize them because it was going to be cheaper. Money. And that's why things are frozen. That's why they don't have any electricity. Meanwhile, on Fox News, The Five, which is clever because it's on at 5 o'clock and there's 5 people, has today have a lower third that says green energy failure, wind turbines freeze across Texas during winter storm. So was Texas powered by wind and we didn't realize it? No, that's not actually what happened. Texas is powered by fossil fuels for the most part. It's been frozen up. By the way, there are plenty of windmills working great in places like Antarctica and Sweden and Norway. If you make sure they don't freeze up, if you winterize things. If you don't winterize things, then, oh, Lordy, there's a problem. And there's also been a lot of blaming the Green New Deal. This is what happens when you have the Green New Deal. Your pipes freeze and then there's no electricity. The only problem with that is there's absolutely nothing that's been enacted in the Green New Deal. And Texas certainly has not been proactive and said, you know what? We're going to put stuff in that's in the Green New Deal because we're that progressive about it. So that's not happened. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's complete and utter bullshit, and it's being sold to your parents and grandparents and your cat on Facebook and Fox News. And it's all bullshit. Utter bullshit. I'm looking forward to my Facebook feed being filled with people with their nonsense about that. That's what I wanted. I wanted to talk about Texas weather. And I do. I feel bad for the average person in Texas who's living their life and suddenly, shit, I don't have power. I don't have water. I'm dealing with all of this stuff. Except for the assholes. And it's not just the politicians, because I saw plenty of people in Texas being assholes about this 6 months ago. Being like, well, California, blah, 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 blah. That's what happens when you put liberals in charge. So earlier today, there was a tweet that went out asking Californians to conserve electricity to help ease the strain on the national grid because of the storms in the Midwest. And that is the difference. Now, you can sit there and go, well, look at you on your moral high horse feeling all superior. No, I'm not feeling superior. What I'm saying is when other people are having troubles, the thing to do is go, can we help? Is there something that we could do? It's not to go, well, fuck you. Look what you did to yourself. And if you did that 6 months ago and you're getting called out for it now and your ass is cold because your toilet is frozen, I don't care about. Sorry.
And wait a minute. We're liberals on the coast. Why do we need to mitigate for the people in the Midwest who think that we're...
No idea. I have no idea why that's a thing, but it went up, and you know what? There's going to be thousands and thousands of people who used less electricity today because of it. And the people in charge said, hey, let's do this to reduce the strain on the grid. Here's the thing, Kareem. I don't know. You know why? Because I have no area of expertise in this. I don't know anything about it. But the companies that do said, yeah. Now, Jason, if he unmutes his mic, might want to chime in with something.
I just realized what this is. I know who sent the blizzard upon Fort Worth, why Texas and the Midwest. I know why it's happening. It's Antifa setting off all these blizzards.
Oh.
Antifa's going around starting a bunch of blizzards, freezing up energy centers. Yeah.
It's a hell of a thing. Oh, by the way, I mentioned that when I started the show that I would explain why we were doing this on Tuesday instead of Monday. So I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I've started a medically supervised weight loss program on Sunday. And I was warned that there was going to be a detox period of sorts. And I wasn't super worried about it because I've gone on different diets that had no sugar and no carbs and anything like that. And they're like, oh, well, you're not going to get sugar and carbs. You're going to have this big detox. The difference with this one is 95% of what I'm consuming is liquid.
Yes.
It's shakes. It's there are some bars, but it's mostly shakes of different varieties. They gave me soups, but they're terrible. So not those, but shakes. And even the soups were just liquid. So
it's liquid everything.
Well, that's part two. Part one is yesterday.
No, that's part two.
Yeah, that's part two, which is still continuing. By the way, like 5 minutes before we started here, I was
yeah, we'll vamp if we need to. If you need to go visit that, you know.
Well, I did just before the show, so that should be good. But I had a wicked headache yesterday. I have a little bit of one today, as well as you just felt like crap. It just felt like utter crap, and knew it was coming to some extent. It was really bad yesterday. Today, not as bad. I would say I'm probably like 75, 80%. Like right now I have a headache and we're not doing a super long show. I say that we're 20 minutes in. Cause I got to be back here early tomorrow for a national podcast. Oh yeah. A podcast from New York is got a guest coming in here to be interviewed. So that's all going to be, that's half set up over here. The camera I'm using is going to be used for that. So that's why it's not fully set up, but, yeah, that's why we didn't do the show yesterday. Is I felt like initially I thought, well, maybe I can do a little bit of a show. Maybe we can do a short show. And I was just like sitting there going, no, I'd feel okay for a little bit. And I'd be like, no, I just couldn't imagine having a conversation. Was really where we are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's why we're for the people who download it, it doesn't make a difference because the show drops on Wednesday morning. So that's going to be the same for the people who are doing the live stream normally on Mondays. That's why we're on Tuesday. It's because I'm in bad shape. Want to quickly touch on the impeachment trial. It came and went, and there were a lot of terrible things that happened, and we saw them all played out, and we got to see everything else. I'm going to break down the impeachment trial in two very easy steps. Here is Stacey Plaskett, who is one of the House managers, explaining why they did not need to call actual witnesses. They got what they wanted to into the record. So once they were able to get that into the record, they were like, okay, we don't need witnesses, and here's why.
Why did you back down?
I think we didn't back down. I think what we did was we got what we wanted, which was her statement, which was what she said, and had it put into the record. And being able to say it on the record out loud so that others would hear. Just so the American public is aware, witnesses in a Senate hearing do not come and stand before the senators and make any statements. It's a deposition, it's videotaped, and that is brought before the Senate. So I know that people are feeling a lot of angst and believe that maybe if we had this, the senators would have done what we wanted. But listen, we didn't need more witnesses. We needed more senators with spines.
So there was your problem right there.
Yeah.
Laid out pretty clearly. This was the most confusing thing to me of the whole fucking trial and immediate thereafter. So the morning of the vote, which was Saturday, Mitch McConnell came out and said that he was going to vote not guilty. Then he voted not guilty. Then, after everything was dismissed, he said this.
Disgrace. American citizens attacked their own government. They used terrorism to try to stop a specific piece of domestic business they did not like. Fellow Americans beat and bloodied our own police. They stormed the Senate floor. They tried to hunt down the Speaker of the House. They built a gallows and chanted about murdering the Vice President. They did this because they'd been fed wild falsehoods by the most powerful man on earth. Because he was angry he lost an election. Former President Trump's actions preceded the riot were a disgraceful dereliction of duty. The House accused the former president of, quote, incitement. That is a specific term from the criminal law. Let me just put that aside for a moment and reiterate something I said weeks ago. There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
So he did it. He's responsible for it. But because they use this one word that has a very specific definition, I didn't vote for it. He goes on to say that it should be taken care of in the courts. Kick that can down the road. I was literally screaming at the TV, like, what the actual fuck is happening here? What the fuck?
I'll go ahead.
And the reason why they didn't do it while he was president was because McConnell let the Senate go and they weren't able to turn the articles of impeachment over to him.
Would not bring them back for
emergency session.
Right. And that was requested by Chuck Schumer, who is now the majority leader. So yeah, they're
go ahead, Jason.
Yeah. Go
So-
on, Jason.
Well, so I mean, first of all, like, I think you got to think that McConnell's thinking on this, aside from that shitty explanation, is his hope that he's going to be able to save Republicans going forward, that he's going to be able to carve out those QAnons that are at least in Kentucky You know what I mean? That are in his area. I mean, like
Lindsey Graham went to Florida to kiss Donald Trump's ass.
I know, but
He cup his balls.
I know, just like this.
Kevin McCarthy, who
Like
called
this.
the president during the insurrection and was told, well, Kevin, I guess they care more about the election than you do. Kevin McCarthy went to Mar-a-Lago after that. And I'm sure it wasn't to give him a stern talking to.
Oh yeah, no. Like I said, I think
there's
McConnell.
There's nothing that this Republican Party as a whole is going to do. They're not even trying to say, hey, that Trump guy. Ooh, no.
McConnell is
Only there.
Ron Johnson has gone to the point where he's saying that it wasn't an armed insurrection.
Ron Johnson is
Russian Ron.
That's his nickname. Ron Johnson's an asshole.
Yeah.
I'll keep it simple and non-specific. Ron Johnson is a Wisconsin asshole. Cheese-eating dick.
It's a special breed of asshole.
Allegedly.
Yeah. But we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out some shit here because Pelosi is setting up that committee to do like a 9/11 style hearing, and the NAACP is suing Trump, Rudy, and the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers.
There's a lot of court going on. There's a Democratic representative from Mississippi who's suing Trump in a private matter. I mean, it's not over. We're going to find out more.
That's the NAACP.
Okay.
Yeah, him and yeah.
And just to give you some background on it, the law was used to sue the
Ku Klux Klan.
Well, no, it's the Ku Klux Klan law, but they used it to sue the white nationalists in Idaho, and they were able to take their property with this law. So it's something that has actually been used before that actually works to the point where some people might come out broke. Because, like I said, it's been used in the last 20 years for that specific purpose.
Yeah,
And once you start getting into the hearing, the legal part of it, then you're going to really find out some shit.
Yeah.
Who put the money, where the money came from.
As long as it's not one of those 90 some odd judges that Trump installed. I mean, giving it to some person that's never had any law training at all.
It'll be the person that let that lady go to Mexico.
She got to go to Mexico. By the way, if you're wondering what the problem with the Capitol insurrection was, well, Greg Kelly, formerly of Fox News and now of Newsmax, has a thought on that.
If you don't vote to convict, we forfeit our North Star status. President Trump abdicated his duty as commander-in-chief. All right, you see what I mean? Over the top. We saw what happened. We saw what he said, and we see that these comments over the top. Too much. So what's going on here? Oh, there is a racial component. Have you noticed? Let's talk about this, all right? It's clear to me that there is a racial component because right now in America, who doesn't have much status? White folk, especially poor white folk, especially poor white people who stormed the Capitol. They should not have done it, and I think the rioters should be prosecuted. Not all of them, though. Some of them were let inside. We saw that. Some of them just happened to be there. But now we're looking at their movements, tracking them. Did you see the video outside of Nancy Pelosi's office? This is evidence, and it should be looked into, and those responsible should be punished. But why so selective? Why is this like 9/11? What about when they took over that police precinct in Minneapolis? Anybody remember that? I mean, they took over a police precinct. Guess what?
Okay. That's all
So, who took over the police precinct? It was the Proud Boys. It was white nationalists who set that police precinct on fire.
The Proud Boys has, it's not a white nationalist group, all right? We're just, and we're libertarians at heart.
The police
We have
officer that,
Asian, we have a couple Orientals with us.
the police officer that was killed in San Francisco was killed
Yeah.
by the Proud Boy
Proud Boy. Yep.
Or the Boogaloo Boy.
or the Boogaloo Boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Proud
Now-
Boys, Boogaloo Boys. Oh,
Yeah. And the other thing is when what's his name? The vice president, Pence, had the nuclear football with him when they almost got him.
What? Yeah. Why? Why did he have that?
That's a good question.
Is it because that? Now here's the real question: did he have it with him because someone knew Trump was completely fucking unhinged that day, and the best way to distract from that vote was going to be to nuke someone? Is that why Pence had the nuclear football?
Somebody thought it was a possibility. I must say that.
I mean, what the fuck? What the fuck?
So they're calling you. He called Tommy Tuberville, and Tuberville said, "Hey, they just got the vice president out of here," and this motherfucker is still tweeting. I don't understand how the Republican Party, who was in that building on that day, one, I don't understand how you don't think that they were not going to kill you too, and two, I don't understand if my girlfriend's boss put her in danger, I would be at her job because me and him would have a problem. He had his family there. And this motherfucker, and this motherfucker hasn't said shit. They put your family at risk and you have not said a word. I don't know how you can consider yourself a man at this point.
Yeah, it's baffling, isn't it? All right, let's since Greg brought up racism, I want to talk a little bit about this. So we know Tom Brady had a drunken old good time with the Lombardi Trophy. He was out on a boat. He was drunk. He tossed it to another boat. We'll get to that in a minute. Tony Perkins, formerly of Good Morning America, he does news in Washington D.C. now. He's African American. He tweeted, "Let Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson win the Super Bowl, be crazy drunk in public, and toss the Lombardi Trophy across the water to his buddy and see how that goes over with some." Tony caught a lot of heat for that from people on Twitter. The next day, he tweeted, "Yesterday I tweeted out an opinion having to do with race and double standards related to the Tom Brady Super Bowl celebration. My tweet has prompted conversation, argument, and anger. I want to respond to all of that and provide some context. So here is what he wrote. Yesterday I tweeted an opinion about how I thought black football players would be viewed by some if they celebrated a Super Bowl win like Tom Brady was celebrating his win with public drunkenness and throwing the Lombardi Trophy around. My comment has been met with passionate conversation and disagreement, support, outrage, vitriol, and vulgarity. Twitter is not a good place for nuanced discussions about race, although many of you have been quite thoughtful in making your points, a variety of points. Maybe it wasn't the best venue for me to toss out a quick brief take on the day's events. To be clear, my comment was not a disparagement of Tom Brady. In fact, I earlier commented on and retweeted funny takes on the celebration. I even praised Brady's funny fake drunk text about the day. I do want to answer those who've asked questions of me like, what have you become? And does everything have to be about race? So you asked, I want to answer. And I'm answering in the spirit of open communication and not anger or counterattacks. Who am I? Who have I become? I'm an African-American man. Yeah, clip that out of the show. I'm an African-American man who over the last several years has seen and felt the scourge of racism, which of course has never gone away. Be reborn, fully unleashed upon black folks and people of color across this country. Black people harassed openly while simply going about their business. Black folks abused, maimed, sometimes killed by police officers because they are inherently seen as greater threat than others because of the color of their skin. I've seen members of the establishment attempt to disenfranchise minority voters so that they can hold on to power. I've seen the Voting Rights Act partially defanged. I've seen the previous administration attempt to whitewash American history, to recontextualize slavery, and all it has wrought. I have seen and felt constantly the double standards that exist for people of color in this country, hence my tweet. And all of this and so much more. I have a 17-year-old son who will soon go out into the world on his own. Some of you, I suspect, have no idea the conversations we've had to have recently and how we've had to work out the craziness that's going on in our world today. Does everything have to be about race? Well, the truth is, much of the turmoil, anger, and anxiety and problems that we're faced with today are about or have their genesis in issues of race in this country. In fact, a large part of the American story is exactly how various ethnic groups have been treated, why some of us are even here in the first place, and the desire and attempt to hold down and manage people of color and immigrants. And even the honesty with which we tell that true story is under attack. Everything doesn't have to be about race, but much of it is. And as an African American, I live that every day, especially these days. To those of you who say to me, you've done pretty well, what do you know about it? Or along those lines, you don't know the struggles, situations, embarrassments, slights, or anything else that me or my family have faced. My mom worked for the phone company and the post office her whole life. My dad was a shoe salesman and a DJ and many other things. Neither went to college. Both worked hard to give my brother and me a better life, overcoming many obstacles, many having to do with discrimination. And we, in turn, faced our own share. Just because some of us have done well and worked hard for it doesn't mean we don't care what happens for all of us. We want everybody to have the same opportunities, the same dignity, and the same respect as anyone else. Two final things. To those who suggest there are other countries out there to live in, I'm an American. I love my country and I want it to be better. I want it to live up to the ideals it was founded on. I truly believe and always have that as long as the majority is using one foot to step on and hold down the minority, we will never get ahead. Life can be better for all of us. And to those who have simply told me to fuck off or go F myself, well, that says more about you than it does me. I wish you the best. Thanks. I suppose this should have been my original tweet, but 140 characters. Tony. Please pardon any typos.
You said what I said last week in a politer way, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I'm just kidding.
Well, and I think it gets to the point here. This gets to, without realizing it, the reason why so many white people are so afraid and are clinging to those racist things. And he touched on it. The majority uses their one foot to hold down the minority. And as the demographics of the country are changing, and as the look of everything is changing, when you are in a group, even if you're not getting the benefits of it, but you feel like you might be, who is the one on top? What are you thinking is going to happen when you're not the one on top? Your thought is going to be, when I'm not the one on top, someone's going to put their foot on my neck, and I don't like that shit. And that's not going to happen. And that, I think, is one of the roots of why so many people are clinging so tightly to these half-assed racist views of things. That's why it's so easy to do that, especially if you live in an area where you don't encounter people of color, or if you live in an area where suddenly there are people of color, or you live in some place where suddenly, hey, there's a black family that moved in. What are we going to do? There's going to be another and another and another.
Our property values are going to go down.
People are having those stupid conversations. So that's what the root is. The root isn't necessarily that people would think badly of whatever. They think that minorities, when they're in charge, are going to be just as shitty as white people have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that's the fear.
Well, and look, that's the Republican playbook on everything right now. Is that if when they didn't want to impeach, when Lindsey said that they were going to impeach Kamala if the Republicans took over, it's because they think that the Democrats will be as shitty as they are.
Yeah, but they know when it's just political, they know that that's bullshit. They know that that's just them playing that fear.
Yeah.
And and it's not new. All right, let's move on to something lighter. We mentioned this all spurred from the Lombardi Trophy. Well, Lorraine Groves, who's the daughter of Greg Groves, who's the silversmith who crafted the first Lombardi trophy, says Tom Brady's trophy toss is insulting to her family and she wants an apology.
Takes
Go
a lot of
fuck
work,
yourself.
a lot of hard work, a lot of hours go into it. It just really upset me that this trophy was disgraced and disrespected by being thrown as if it was a real football. I didn't sleep for the past 2 nights because of this. I was that upset.
What the fuck?
How good is her life? How good
Yeah,
is this lady's
man.
life?
If that's what's keeping you up at night, you must have quite an awesome life.
Oh my
Like,
god!
for that to be the thing. Oh man,
Right?
I couldn't sleep. I just saw it just replaced back and forth in my head. Tom throwing it going over the water, and then the person on the other side missing it.
Yeah, but
Just
they didn't. They
it.
caught it.
I
They caught
know,
it. It was
but
fine.
it's her nightmare. It's her nightmare. That's how her nightmare goes.
Oh.
God, Nate, come on. Her Nate isn't that they caught it. Oh, actually, it could be like, hey, they caught it and then they used it in an orgy. I just can't. Something of that. I have nightmares every night. And it's Tom Brady tosses over my grandfather's Lombardi trophy that he designed with his own 2 hands.
Right.
And
They
Rob
catch it over there. And then they
Rob
rub it on
jizzed all
vaginas.
over it.
Rob rubs it on vaginas. Just doing all kinds of nasty things with it.
She would be so horrified if she knew what happened to the Stanley Cup every year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Every year, because that thing gets to go. If you win the Stanley Cup, you get to bring it with you. You get your day with the Stanley Cup. And that thing has been at the bottom of lakes. People have used it as like a salsa bowl. There's been all sorts of shit that have gone on with that. But you know who's not upset about that? Hockey people. Because they're like, And by the way, way nicer trophy than a football on a triangular stand. I get that silversmithing is hard, but that trophy ain't that great. It's a football on a stand.
And they probably use the same cast that they use every year.
Yeah. Kareem, I have a question for you. I saw this. I saw this on Twitter. It was a story on Fox News. The headline is Milwaukee police fake traffic stop for proposal. So, is there any chance that you or anyone you know who is African American would go, you know what? This will be funny. We're going to do a proposal, but we're going to do a fake traffic stop.
No. The only way it would be funny is I have a brother that's a cop and I have a cousin that's a cop. Is if the only way it's funny is they're involved. That's it.
Right.
And that the people who and that they're the person who pulls us over while it's going on. That's it. That's the only way it's funny.
Yeah.
This is the whitest thing I've seen all week.
Yeah, this is white.
It's not even just white. It's like, come on, man.
It's white people, and it's like when it's like white people, it's like the people which is like not spelled like people. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. It's on Fox and Friends, and it was on. They did the story on Valentine's Day because on the bottom of their lower third, it says Fox and Friends, and there's 3 hearts on either side of Fox and Friends because that's what you want from your serious news about white people.
Supreme whiteness.
It is supreme whiteness. All right, the best thing all week, all month, all year that will be all year anywhere is this, and it's better with video, and if you haven't seen it yet, please go find it. This is a court case from Texas on Zoom with a judge and 2 lawyers.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to take
we're
a
trying
look.
can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I
So the lower right hand corner of the screen, there's this filter, and Zoom doesn't have this, so I have no idea how this got on this dude's computer. But it's a filter where it's this white kitten that looks sad. And as he's talking, the cat's mouth moves, and as he's looking, the eyes go with it.
Yeah.
which,
Juicy eyes going.
Which is amazing. In the upper left, it says recording of this hearing or live stream is prohibitive. And of course, every time someone would post it, someone who thought they were clever when, well, who's posting that? I hope they don't get in trouble. The judge posted it. How about you just enjoy this wonderfulness?
That's right.
When a lawyer has to say this.
Don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat. The worry in his voice is amazing.
Meow.
Jason, are you a cat?
Meow.
That was literally the best thing all freaking week. All freaking week. Right. All right. Well, I'm starting to feel a little under the weather, so let's wrap this thing up.
With the cat.
Leave the hustle and bustle for small town news.
I'm not a cat.
This coming from the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, where I'm from. Headline: Police: impaired driver attempted to flee through cornfield in Coventry. The Orleans County Sheriff's Department today released information relating to an incident in Coventry back in December of 2020, where a driver is alleged to have taken off through a cornfield to avoid arrest. Deputy Gagne says that while on duty on December 18th, he witnessed a man known to him as 31-year-old Keith Sylvester Jr. operating a truck on Vermont Route 14 near the intersection on Vermont Route 5. He says he initiated a traffic stop when Sylvester attempted to elude through a cornfield off Vermont Route 14. Deputy Gagne later located the truck in a cornfield on Courier Hill Road. He then located Sylvester and two passengers who had fled from the truck in the cornfield. Sylvester is alleged to have given false information to Deputy Gagne as to who was driving the truck. He was placed under arrest and transported to the Orleans County Sheriff's Department for processing. According to the report, a passenger of the truck advised them that they were in fear of their lives when Sylvester fled from police. He was processed for DUI number 2, driving while license suspended, grossly negligent operation, attempting to elude false reports to law enforcement authorities, and recklessly endangering another person. Through a cornfield! I'm not a cat. All right.
I feel the cat.
Well, that's going to do it for us for this episode of the WTH podcast. As I told everybody before you got on, my birthday is Friday. It's not that exciting. For my birthday, I want Jason to unmute himself.
43, 44?
51.
Oh, shit, man.
Right?
Hope you feel good on Friday.
I really do, too. Leslie assured me that yesterday said, you'll feel a lot better tomorrow. And I sort of do. But I sort of don't. maybe tomorrow. The good news is in 2 days, I've lost almost 5.5 pounds. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you where it went.
It's all water weight. I love it when you start a diet and you're like, hey, I did really great. And everybody's like, it's all water weight. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you.
I was just going to say that you've just been shitting a lot.
There's that.
Your bowels have just been cleaned out.
But
you got it.
I did feel like I was prepping for another colonoscopy.
As I say, come on, man. It's
brutal.
You go through what I go through when I get a migraine.
Probably, yeah, because headache.
Yeah.
Not feeling great.
Well, you get the headache and then you get everything comes out.
Yeah, well.
One end or the other.
It's better to light, is what I'll say.
That's what she said right there.
That's it.
One end or the other. That's what she said.
Very true. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Thanks for doing this on a Tuesday. Hey, everybody, no matter where you're listening, thank you for checking out the show, whether it's Australia, India, across Europe and North America. We love having you as listeners to the show. You can check out our Facebook group. You can follow us on Twitter. We're all there. Links in the description, so check that out. And we will see you next time. Darling New Media, here to help you tell your story.